Well, and hello, happy 4th of July. My name is Rosalind of Rosewood Create, and I decided for this 4th of July weekend that what I'm going to work on is my Sisterhood pattern. I got this pattern, it's a paper piece pattern from Happy So Lucky. I had this in my stash for a while, so I'm not sure if it's a paid pattern or not, but I just wanted to tell you about this. I decided to do this for 4th of July, and the reason why I like this is, again, it's called Sisterhood, and then I'm going to be doing all the different colors here to represent different nationalities, and I decided I was going to do the black background in a white color, and I got this right here. It's the white with blue and red speckles, and then with the dresses, I decided to do that with red and blue. So half of them will be red, half of them will be blue. And I'm just going with my stash, pulling out from my stash to do this pattern. And again, it's a paper piece pattern, and it comes in two sizes. Size a 12-inch block or a 16-inch block. I'm going to do the 16-inch block, and it's fairly simple. It has it has a page right here that gives you the directions on how it works, and then it has the pieces. So this is the 12-inch side, and on the other side is the 16-inch sizes. And then on the back are all the pieces to make the faces of each of the pieces. Anyway, I'm going to start doing this, and then I will give you an update on how I'm doing. But this is going to be my project for the 4th of July. Well, I have been going at it, getting this project done. Again, I am Rosalind of Rosewood Create, and I am doing the Sisterhood paper piecing pattern, and it's by Happy So Lucky. And again, this was in my stash. I don't even know how long I've had it, but I decided to do this for the 4th of July. I'm doing this in a white with blue and red stars, and then the dresses, I'm going to be making those in red and white fabric from my stash. Here's my stash. This is the red and white fabric that I'm using with the stars in it. And the pattern comes in two sizes. It comes in the size 12 block and a 16. I'm doing the 16-inch block. And with on here, it has the directions on how to do paper piecing, and then these are the pieces for the 12-inch block. Here's it for the 16-inch block, and then this back page is for you to do the faces. Okay, so I just showed you the background, and then I picked out these fabrics right here as for my the skin tones and the dresses. So I picked and I grouped them all individually, so I knew which ones, because you have to be very organized with doing paper piecing. And so with me being organized, I made sure I had my skin tone and my fabric color. So here's 1, here's 2, here's 3, here's 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And I've already completed the first 6 blocks. But let me tell you also what you'll need for, well, you know what? I completed 6 of the blocks already, so I still have the last 2 blocks, number 7 and number 8, to do. I've cut out my pieces for these, so I'm done with that part of it. And I'm going to tell you what I used. So one of the things I use is my Creative Grids. This is a 2.5 by 18-inch ruler. I used a small rotary cutter. This is an Olfa, and it's a 28-inch millimeter. I had one of these light box tracing platforms here. It lights up. And let me see. Yep, it lights up. It actually comes like this, but I have bought this cutting mat to go on top, and it is called a wafer cutting mat. Doesn't say who it's by. Oh, it says Daylight. I don't know. I've had it in my stash. And then I have an add a quarter ruler, the 6-inch one, a glue stick, and I think that's all the supplies that I needed for this project. Okay. So again, like I said, I have, this is number 8 pieces left. This is number 7. No, this is all 8. Here's my number 7 pieces that I have left to do. And let me show you the ones that I've completed so far. And I have them stacked up because, like I said, it's going to be a 16-inch block. And they're in quarters. Let me show you the pattern again. Let's see. The pattern is in 4 quarters. So you have this quarter, this quarter, this quarter, and this quarter to make the whole thing. And that's what this is. This right here represents 1 quarter. So it'll go here, 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 or here. And they're all 4 quarters are pretty much made the same way. So these are my 4 quarters, and these are the different ones that I have. So this side is on my blue dresses and all my red dresses on this side. And they'll go together like this to make that quarter. So I have, you know, all these and these ones here. So again, I just have my number 7 and 8, and I'll be done with this block. Okay, the way that I got started on doing this pattern and most paper piecing, I went and I made copies. So I knew that I needed, you know, how many quarters I needed this. So I made all my copies, and then I cut out each one of them. Let's see. Yeah. So like this is this one. I cut it out. I made it in black and white because you don't need the color. So I cut each one out, and then how I start mine's off is I like to fold each one of the pieces. I put the number here, so I knew this was number 7, so I don't get confused. But I like to start off by folding all my papers, and I just use regular copy paper. I use regular copy paper. I didn't use that specialized paper. I think I do have some, but I just copied it on my copier. So I just go like this to get a crease on each one of them. So each one of them are all creased out. And then I try to determine what size I needed for each one of these pieces. And so I got my ruler, and I decided to oversize all my pieces. I decided to oversize all my pieces because I rather cut off than not have enough fabric. So I measured each one of these pieces out. Let me grab another ruler. And I determined, like for instance, we'll go to E1. This right here is E1, and this is where you'll start with the number 1. I went to E1, and I just looked at this, and this is a 3 by, goes to here, 3 by 3. Yes, 3 by 3. But then I decided to bump that up, and so on this piece here, I actually did a 4 by 4 square. And so I cut out a 4 by 4 square for this, and then for the arm, this arm, I decided to do, looking at the size of the arm that I would need, is looks like it's only like, maybe it's a 1/4 of an inch, but like I said, I just did everything a little bit bigger. So I did mine's at 1.5 by 4, so that I had enough, even though you cut off a lot, but I rather, like I said, have more than less. E3, I actually use a piece off of the other side. Let me show you. This one right here, I cut out this piece here. Let me see, when I measure it, it is a 6 by, it's like a 6 by 6, but no, it goes all the way, it goes to here. So it's 6 by, let's see, maybe 6 by 4. And so I cut out on this one, I cut out 7.5 by 5 inch block. And then what I did was I cut it in half, and I used that half piece for over here. Even though it's bigger, it, you know, I was able to use it all. So so that's this piece here. So once I do this piece here and sew it, this part right here, I mean, it's a lot of fabric here. I use that for my E3. My dress, again, measuring it out. The dress is about, let's see, it's about a 3.5 by 2.5. And so with the dress, I did more. So I did 5 by 4. It's kind of big, but I don't mind using up that fabric. So that's what this piece is here, my arm here. These two pieces here are this piece. Here's the dress, here's the arm, and then, like I said, I'll get the other piece off of here to be that other piece. So those are the pieces that I did for that. And then cutting out this piece, again, I did this one 7.5 by 5, and I'll use it for the other one. And then I have my arm piece, which is the same measurement, 1.5 by 4. And then this part right here, I was able to angle it this way, and I cut a 3.5 by 4. So that's how I got my pieces to make this right here, to make this one unit. And so, and I like I said, I rather do it bigger, and I make sure that I got all my area done than not have enough. So, so that's what I did. So I was able to cut out all of the pieces for all 8, because you're making, well, not 8. Yeah, you're making 8 because it's a unit. Let's see, where's the beginning? You're making 8 of the girls, the sisters. So, I was able to cut all those out for all 8 pieces, and then put those aside. And like I said, this is number 7 that I have left to do. And this one over here is my number 8. So number 7 and number 8, once those are done, I'll have all the pieces to go ahead and put the whole pattern together. And I don't know if there's anything else I need to tell you, but I'm going to go ahead and finish those last 2 blocks and let you see how it goes.